It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
And, of course, John Daly is with us as well as he ducks in for Friday Fabulous Florida. These stories curated by our stalwart producer, Albert, who is on his way to Asia right now. But he left us with this pretty good selection from Florida. It contains a lot of news of reptiles.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah. A 9-foot alligator bites a Florida woman's face while she's snorkeling. I saw her head in its mouth, according to this friend. She's snorkeling with a friend at Alexander Springs Recreation Area over the weekend. A 9-foot alligator attacks her and bites her forehead.
Ow.
Marissa Carr saying that she still cannot believe that an alligator bit her in the face. She was out with a friend snorkeling and swimming at this Alexander Springs Recreation Area near Ocala. I ripped the mask off. And I turn, and I see the two little eyes sticking out of the water. And that's when I realized, face to face with a 9-foot alligator. I just heard a rush of water, and I turned around to make sure she was okay, said a friend. And I just saw the huge gator, and I saw her head in its mouth.
That's going to leave a mark.
Marissa said it all happened in a matter of seconds, Kim. So fast that she didn't realize the alligator had bitten her in the first place. The body goes into shock, Kim.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in these situations, Kim?
I've never had my head in an alligator's mouth.
Eye to eye.
Yeah.
With maybe the end. It didn't hurt bad in the moment, she said. And then, as I was running back and, I saw what it was, that's when it started hurting, she said. I was
girl.
My forehead hurts really bad, and my neck isn't so much of the pain. Maybe she didn't say at all before the incident, John. Did it ever occur to you that this incident might have actually affected her, the way she articulates?
And she became Californian in that moment.
Mm-mm. Sounds bad, but it biting my head is probably the best place that it could have been, because if you would have got my arm, and that it would have, got a better grip on my arm, and I could have, lost my arm or just, my life in general. So, I think the head, he didn't get a good grip of it. So I think, I'm genuinely just really, really lucky. And that,
She's just don't eat my body. Head's okay. Yeah. But don't you find it surprising these people are like, oh, I was surprised. Why are you surprised? You went swimming in a lake in Florida? I couldn't believe there was an alligator in there.
Yeah.
Turn on a TV.
Maybe it was supposed to be alligator free.
Yeah, right.
It's really, really scary, a Florida woman says, as she sells her home in Florida. But why she's selling her home is the key here.
Alligator?
This is Cape Coral. And a woman is saying that she is putting her home up for sale because her dog came face to face with a massive what?
Alligator.
Alligator is what I would have guessed. Python was the name and the name of the creature. You guessed python, you can award yourself points. Her dog came face to face with this massive python in her backyard. In
Cape Coral.
Yeah, Cape Coral, thank you. Lexi Pantalip was at her home, minding her own business. She heard her dog Kane start barking outside. She says it's normal for her dog, but then he yelped, and that's when she ran out and saw the slippery intruder. She went into the backyard. She saw her dog and a massive snake about to go head-to-head. He was face-to-face. I've seen a little water moccasin before, she said, but I've not seen snakes that are so huge. He was standing right there. And the end of his body was still in the grasses. You couldn't really see where his body ended. This is the Burmese python down there. We've talked about it before. It becomes a repetitive thing. It's an invasive species. It's not native to Florida.
Yeah.
That means, right? And,
Yeah.
some human brought in this exotic thing. It got out of a tank or whatever the cage was, and now you've got
Have you seen one of
jillions.
these giant snakes in person? A python?
No.
I saw one on the islands of Thailand. And at first, I just thought it was a pipe, like going across the street, because it was like a narrow street, like a paved path in the forest. I thought it was a pipe. And then locals are yelling, and they're yelling at me in Thai. and then I figure out,
John Daly.
Wow.
you couldn't even tell it was a snake. It was so huge.
There it is. Man.
Yeah.
But she's moving out. She's had enough, and she wants no more Florida.
She's moving to Texas?
Well,
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
it could be. It could be. Meantime, on the other side of town, a Florida man is busted with 5 alligators in his bathtub.
Oh,
that he
come on.
told authorities that he had rescued at a nearby pond. The man's from St. Cloud, and he was discovered having 5 alligators in a bathtub. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission descended on. They're little things, Officers got an anonymous tip that he was keeping these juvenile alligators in a bathtub at his home. And told officers that he did have the alligators in his home and also gave them permission to go inside and check it out. There they are, if you're watching. Inside the bathroom in Robinson's bedroom, officers found 5 alligators inside the bathtub. They double-checked the other rooms in the house because, usually they're more than just the gators, but they grabbed the gators. How old do you think he is to do this? This is one of those questions where, how old do you think the guy is in Florida who is grabbing these juvenile gators out of a pond, putting them in his tub? You've got to have time to do that and the inclination to do it. How old, I ask you in the chat, how old is the dude who grabbed 5 gators from a nearby pond? At what age does that kick in? Everybody's going 40, Julie. 40 says Edward. Julie says, I don't know. Makai says 85. Pauline says 32. Huge in Japan. Higher, I believe, 23. 37. Who gets 37? Nancy. I'm going to give it to you, Nancy.
Wow.
38 was the answer.
I was going to guess either really young or retired.
Right.
At the
and me
villages.
too. I actually felt like, it's probably a retired guy who's,
Hey,
no.
ladies, want to go to an after party?
Want to see 5 alligators, ladies? So that is a 38-year-old guy with too much time on his hands. A Florida man is tased and arrested after firing a gun in the air while drunk. He's a 37-year-old, tased and arrested. Deputies said he fired a gun in public, and he was, of course, intoxicated. So, Robert Matthew Phillips of Punta Gorda faces charges of discharging a weapon in public, possession of a firearm while in the commission of a felony, and then a bunch of other firearm charges. They threw in fleeing and eluding, assault, DUI. There he is.
Also
not a
37.
bad booking photo, actually.
37, that's the sweet spot.
That is, in this particular Florida offering, that is the perfect age.
I feel like he looks like he's had a hard night and been drinking a little bit.
Well,
Face is kind of ruddy.
Well, he's been in the sun, too, I think.
He
Looking
is
like
definitely.
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol
I told you that
involved.
alcohol was involved. So
Yeah.
he was seen riding a bike in the area,
Yeah.
but he didn't stop when ordered to by deputies. Authorities said that he was shocked with a taser as he continued to resist arrest. After searching him, cops say they found a loaded .40 caliber Glock handgun.
Oh, scary.
This is one of those Mad Libs stories. Fill in the blanks, Mark.
All right. They searched him further, and they found a boa constrictor in his right leg. Wow, that's amazing. They searched him further, and on his right leg, there was fentanyl strapped to his hand, strapped to his calf. Investigators said the bullet casings were found at the crime scene matched those in the gun, formerly in Phillips' possession. That's how I know they know he discharged it, and he is in custody. 4 doctors eating dinner are witness to a guy suffering a heart attack at the next table. Guy is there with his grandchildren, and he suffers a heart attack. What did the 4 doctors eating dinner in Florida do?
Nothing.
That would be the answer that I wouldn't be surprised by. The answer is they did help, though, John. It was a little misdirection I was doing.
Yeah.
It was a little misdirection. This guy was in the right place, suffered a heart attack, out to dinner with his family, and there were 4 doctors at the next table. So Eddie Montero, visiting his daughters and meeting one of his grandchildren for the first time in the Lake Nona region of Orlando, Florida, was able to get help when he went into cardiac arrest. A local physician and 3 of her residents were finishing up their meal and quickly sprang into action. Dr. Nicole Brenner, a physician at Florida's, is it Osceola, Florida? Is that where it is, John?
Osceola, yeah, the county.
They all jumped into medical mode, and they saved his life. Yeah. Checked pulse, provided medical care, and life was good.
At least they didn't debate what it was. Just standing there.
Nobody do anything.
Right.
Let's figure out what we have here.
Like an episode of House.
A Florida man raised thousands on GoFundMe after his husband was killed. Months later, he's charged with the murder.
No. What?
Oh, wow.
That's right. He raised thousands of dollars on GoFundMe after his husband was found slain in their home in March. Now he's been charged with first-degree murder. Herbert Swilly, 55 years old, arrested by the Marion County Sheriff's Office. It's a brutal situation.
What he's got going here is a situation.
He does have a brutal situation for Swilly, who requested a welfare check when he found a Jeep outside one of their 2 homes a day after he said that he'd last seen his husband that prior day. Police were eventually able to go inside the residence and found Smith, who's the former husband, 59 years old.
Picture of Smith.
Oh, that's Smith? Okay.
Mm-hmm. He actually
was on
wanted
a bed.
a welfare check, like an actual welfare check.
That's right. Ahead of his GoFundMe check.
Yeah.
He had ligature marks on his neck, and autopsy determining that Smith, that nice-looking fellow that Kim showed you, died from asphyxia, which is a ding word, and it's also a tough way to die, and a fracture
unless he was enjoying it.
On a fracture on his cervical spine, according to the affidavit. Doesn't sound like a lot of enjoyment. Maybe.
Yeah.
Swilly, though, is getting charged with first-degree premeditated murder and 1 charge of tampering with evidence. And so he could be going away for quite some time. And might I say, with that, we need to pick a favorite. I don't want to do... Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. We don't need to pick... No. I apologize. We're not done.
Who are you going to apologize to?
The Florida... I want to... My words upset so many people. I wonder who I should apologize.
My words upset many people.
I'm going to apologize to the Asian community.
And I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community.
I just feel like that you always should apologize if you can to the Asian community. Florida man helps take down a carjacking suspect in a Starbucks drive-thru. Wow. It's usually so boring at Starbucks drive-thrus. Not in Florida, it's not. Ocala, Florida. Police chase ended near an Ocala Starbucks. Suspect tried to carjack a woman's car there at Starbucks. A man in the next car jumped in to help, held on to the suspect until the cops got there. Wow.
Why are you yelling?
Shane Spicer was waiting for coffee. Police, at the meantime, were in a high-speed chase with a dangerous suspect. The suspect was wanted for allegedly breaking into somebody's home and stealing their car, crashed in a busy intersection, and took off running. Sprinting up to Starbucks, he didn't look like a Starbucks coffee drinker, said the Good Samaritan, Spicer.
More like a meth smoker.
Then he yanked the girl out of the car. The guy was running from the cops. And dash cam video, which you've just been able to see a little bit if you're watching, shows him trying to carjack this woman, but this dude, Spicer, jumps into the passenger seat to stop him. Spicer's an Army veteran and decided that he wasn't going to let this guy slip away. I'm going to get you, buddy, he said. You're not going anywhere now. You crossed the line. That's right. So
what he's got going here is a situation.
Yeah.
That's the third story from Fox 35 Orlando. Shout out.
Yeah.
You remember Fox 35 and the Fox 35 Thunder Truck?
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten it was them. Thank you.
Your leading source. Florida news.
Big news at that Starbucks in Florida. And a Florida man finally hits the haunted house host with a BB gun. He's firing his BB gun, hit the guy in the eye with this airsoft gun. I mean, those BBs hurt, and not to mention that you can literally put your eye out. Yeah.
You know,
and then he laughed when he realized the victim was not a statue.
Oh, man.
This dude is 20 years old. He was down at a local haunted house, and he donned an FBI jacket, I guess, body armor, and he was carrying an airsoft BB gun resembling a Glock pistol. He entered this Seminole, Florida home of a 47-year-old man that was hosting a free haunted house event at his home. The haunted house was advertised with the question, "Are you brave enough to make it through the manor and get some treats?" The front lawn of the house is decorated to appear as a cemetery. Inside the home, police said this guy who's 6'4" and 210 went around a corner to where the victim was standing. The victim was wearing a costume but was not acting like a scary player at the time, according to witnesses. After seeing the costume individual, Schuster reportedly turned away, grabbed his airsoft gun, and then hit the victim in the eye with the gun's handle, causing significant injury. Schuster told the victim that he thought he was a statue. After realizing that he'd hit a person, not a decoration, not a statue, Schuster, again, he's the perpetrator here, began laughing, was not apologetic. And as the victim bled out, the dude Schuster ran. Then they tried to block him from leaving, and finally emergency responders showed up, and Schuster was booked in the local jail. He was released on bond of $15,000. There he is. That's his booking photo.
Not to blame the victim, but you should not be inviting people into your house if you live in Florida. At night on Halloween? No.
He's not wrong, John is not wrong with that pro tip. We don't like to do it, but we have to do it. It's in the bylaws of the show to pick a favorite. So let's just review for you quickly, all of them. And what I was going to say as well is if you're watching in replay, please indicate your favorite in comments. We just like to keep track of that. And again, we're duty bound to do that by the bylaws of the show. Florida's featured this today. A 9-foot alligator biting that Florida woman's face while she was snorkeling, and like I tell you, it could have been like worse. Yeah. It's really scary. A Florida woman ready to sell her home. She is too scared after a huge python goes face to face with her dog. A Florida man busted. He was the 38-year-old with the 5 alligators in his bathtub that he says he rescued from a nearby pond. A Florida man is tased and arrested after firing a gun in the air while drunk. 4 doctors eating dinner save another Florida man at the next table as he suffers a heart attack while meeting his grandkid for the first time. That story has it all. It's got life, death, the warmth of meeting your grandchildren. You know what I mean, John?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Hallmark
A
Channel.
Florida man who raised thousands on GoFundMe after his husband was killed tragically, now charged with tragically killing his husband, everyone. Yes, that is the way.
He got greedy.
Florida man helps take down a carjacking suspect in the Starbucks drive-thru. And finally, the Florida man who took on the haunted house with a BB gun and says he thought that the proprietor of the haunted house was a statue, and he lashed out. His explanation doesn't really hold water. So anyway, the haunted house assault is what we'll call that. I don't believe there's a poll up in the chat, so we're just registering.
I've been looking at the chat, and unofficially, I'm going to say it's the gator woman head.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
alligator
seems like
bite, face bite. Someone called it what did Heather say? Gator face hugger. Yeah. It looks like the gator face. Gator face is winning.
Starbucks Good Samaritan with tattoos. Gator face, says Heather. Yeah. Leaving Florida because of python, says A. Well, let's say there's a lot there to GoFundMe. That is that's a twist, and it's kind of dastardly and cold-hearted, sort of very Florida. The Gator woman's eloquence was like amazing, says Harry. All right, we don't like to pick a favorite, as I say, but we must. Kim, I'll start with you.
Gator face.
Gator face.
Kim, how are you?
All right. Fabulous producer John Daly, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to go with that alligator
John
face
Daly.
chomp because I feel like the alligator was doing us like a favor, and he's like,
The alligator face chomp is tough to beat. Alligator, you've got, she wasn't killed, which is good. It makes the story a little bit more palatable, I think.
Yeah, if her head came off, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, then I would have, there is, all right, I'm going to go with the two. It's the alligator chomp.
Totally.
I think
It's unanimous. That's the first time it's unanimous.
It's like unanimous.
Wow.
It is. That's what happens when Albert goes away. We can all agree on something.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah. That's Friday Fabulous Florida.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.